Everybody keeps telling me that Alabama is a deep red state, but the numbers from our May primary tell a much more interesting story. Last week, Republicans still won the turnout battle overall, but something big happened beneath the surface. So in 2022, nearly 78% of all primary ballots cast were Republican ballots, but this year, that number dropped to about 58%. Meanwhile, Democratic participation surged across Alabama. And we're not just talking about like Birmingham and Montgomery. Jefferson County saw turnout increase significantly over 2022. Montgomery turnout jumped from 21% to over 30%. Even Baldwin County, one of the most Republican counties in Alabama, saw Democratic primary participation more than triple. Now, does this mean that Alabama suddenly turned blue? No. But it does mean something important. The narrative that Democrats don't exist in Alabama simply isn't true. There are hundreds of thousands of voters who care deeply about issues like immigration, healthcare, public education, voting rights, reproductive freedom, and access to the courts. And when people feel like their vote matters, they show up. What's even more remarkable is that this happened during one of the most confusing election cycles in recent memory. While voters were dealing with congressional map litigation, special elections, constant uncertainty about which districts even exist, they still showed up. So the lesson here isn't that Alabama changed overnight. The lesson is that Alabama has always been more competitive, more diverse, and more politically engaged than the stereotypes suggest. When people participate, the numbers tell a different story than what we're usually sold. Alabama isn't a lost cause, and if the turnout trends continue, a lot of political strategists may need to update their assumptions about the South. Make sure you go vote. We do have a runoff statewide for the Senate race. June 16th is the runoff date for the Senate election. And in certain areas, there are runoffs as well, and that is going to be June 16th. Make sure that if you are able to vote in that runoff, you vote. That means if you didn't vote in the primary to begin with, you can still vote. If you chose a Democratic ballot in the primary, you can vote. But if you chose the Republican ballot so that you could decide who we wanted to go against and decided to do that strategy, whatever, you can't vote. But everybody else, you can. Go vote June 16th. And then August 11th is the next election. And then November 3rd, you can vote for me.